All right, so if this is the right triangle that you need to use, you're given legs of 2 and 3, and you want to find the trig ratios. Okay, the first thing that I would recommend that you do in something like this is find the ratios that are shown by the given information. Okay, so the given ratios here are going to be what? With respect to A, we have the piece of information that's opposite it and adjacent to it. So which trig ratio relates opposite and adjacent? Tangent, right? So we know in this particular case our tangent ratio is 2 over 3, and then we can also find its reciprocal ratio, which is what? Cotangent, just 3 over 2. All right, so that's the first step. The second step, once you find that information, what you're then going to do is use Pythagorean theorem. All right, so in order to find this missing side, we have the sum of the squares of the two legs is equal to the square of the hypotenuse, and we solve for that. So 4 plus 9 gives us 13. So C itself is going to be the square root of 13. Okay, once we find that missing side, your final step here then will be to find all the remaining trig ratios. Okay, so when you're looking for these other trig ratios, okay, notice if we take, with respect to A, we take our opposite over hypotenuse, so 2 over root 13. Okay, you can't leave a radical in the denominator. So let me repeat this because a number of you are still having trouble with that. Okay, you can't enter 2 divided by square root 13. You have to rationalize it. There's 2 ways that you can rationalize it. One is to understand that dividing something by the square root of some number, which I'll just designate as A, is the same thing as multiplying by root A and dividing by A. So what that means is if you understand that pattern, then 2 divided by root 13 is just like saying 2 times root 13 divided by the number itself, 13. And so that's the form that you would need to enter this online. Okay, I mentioned that there's another way that you could solve this, and that would be just to enter it on your calculator. So if you entered 2 divided by square root 13 on your calculator and you hit enter, okay, as long as you're in auto mode, okay, or exact mode, it will give you the radical form completely rationalized. Okay. Now, once you find your sine ratio, at the same time you can go ahead and find your reciprocal ratio as well. So what was the reciprocal of sine? Again, it doesn't start with the same letter, so it's the c, the cosecant. And with cosecant, you can either go to, if you drew your picture, it's easier to find the reciprocal function that way, the ratio, because cosecant isn't opposite over hypotenuse, it's hypotenuse over opposite. So just look at what you have, root 13 divided by 2. A number of you are going to try to take this fraction right here and flip it. You're going to take 13 divided by 2 root 13. If you do it that way, you're just adding extra work that's unnecessary. Okay. And then the final set of ratios is the cosine, which is adjacent over hypotenuse. So you're looking at 3 divided by root 13. Again, the rule for rationalizing, dividing by root 13 is just like multiplying by root 13 and dividing by 13. So you get 3 root 13 over 13 would be the simplified form. And again, when you take the reciprocal of cosine to get the secant, just take the hypotenuse over adjacent. So root 13 is the hypotenuse divided by the adjacent 3. Okay, so that's what I would recommend on, or as far as that goes.